The acquisition module is a full closed-loop system. It's very easy to use, very easy to learn. It starts with the process of requisitions. The requisitions can be turned into sourcing events like RFQs and RFPs. From there, we do a purchase order award. We manage supplier agreements, and we use the supplier agreements to create a functionality that we call auto-place POs.
That covers the case where I buy this particular item an awful lot, and I've worked out an agreement with the supplier. And we signed a contract. I'm going to buy these from you, and you're going to sell them to me for this special price. And we record that. We
can say that as a requisitioner, I can spend or self-authorize up to $500. Obviously, every customer's got their own rules around this. So once an approved requisition happens, and we have a piece of the application that searches through the supplier agreements to find a match. And very simply, if it does, it simply just places the purchase order with the supplier, puts it in a queue for the buyer to deliver, and we simply deliver it to them.
When we talk about sourcing, we're talking about a buyer going out and trying to find a supplier to send the purchase order to.
The sourcing capabilities is a module within the acquisition phase where we manage RFQs, RFIs, RFPs. So these requests for informations or proposals or simply quotes are managed through a process. One of the nice parts of the application, as you use it over time, we are gathering historical information about the way the company is buying goods and services. So now we can use the sourcing module to kind of help the buyer understand where they historically purchased this goods for. When did they last do that? What price did they pay? Had they got an existing quote out there?
The software will look through the information that it has, because it is an information system, and it will share the information with you. Lots of the older ones did not. And so it'll tell you you bought parts like this from this supplier, and this supplier in the past. Or you had some quotes outstanding with these people. Or there's some catalogs for a similar part, that kind of thing. And then our buyer will say, well, I'll pick these 4 and ask them for a quote. When those responses come back in, they go into the system, and our buyer is then given the ability to evaluate those different responses and hopefully pick one of those suppliers and award the purchase order.
We're trying to provide efficiency to provide time. We really think of this as providing time to do a spend analysis. So as I look at the way that I spend dollars in acquisitions, I can start to analyze them. And from a best practice point of view, when I have a more efficient process, I have essentially freed up time for procurement professionals to engage. Having a key performance indicator of understanding how much spend is under a managed agreement or an umbrella of a spend agreement. Now I can take that procurement professional and say, from a management point of view, provide direction for them to analyze the spend of the company. When I get a chance to talk to a customer, an existing customer, or get to introduce the software for a first-time look at the software. The things I kind of like to talk about the most are the auto purchase order placement. One time I sat in a desk and I was a buyer, and I would buy the same thing 3 or 4 times a year. I had an agreement, but I had just as much work to manually get through the system to enter the data to place that purchase order the 4th time as I did the 1st time, and that just doesn't make any sense to me. So I really appreciate that functionality, and so for me, that's my favorite.